But speaking of the Pac-12, speaking of that specific coast, at the same time, we have yet another top 25 game that is going to be happening at the exact same time that we have that Colorado and Oregon game. Guys, this is the type of weekend where you need to have multiple screens going at the same time if you're able to afford to do so. Now, we have UCLA and Utah that are going to kick off. This is also a 3:30 game, and this game is going to be on Fox Sports. Utah is 3-0, but we haven't really seen that explosiveness out of their offense. Their highest score is the 31 that they've scored last week against Weber State, and Weber State is a good FCS team. I believe they are ranked in the FCS top 25, but we haven't seen them really show much consistency on the offensive side of the ball between their Florida game and their Baylor game as well. Baylor game, they could have certainly lost. They actually needed a little bit of help to actually come back and win that one. UCLA been very quiet under the radar. We haven't seen a lot of talk about UCLA, but they've quietly also gone off to a 3-0 start. I think this is a game where, we're going to see them play for the first time. Like, a lot of people are going to see UCLA play for the first time. They played against Coastal Carolina and San Diego State. They looked fine in both their games. We've had them ranked in the top 25 this entire season. The AP poll took a little time to catch up to that. It's going to be a difference of a couple of styles. We know about the Chip Kelly offense. We know that Chip Kelly likes to be a little bit more up-tempo, not as crazy as insane as he was in his golden days back when he was the head coach of Oregon, but he still likes to be pretty up-tempo, and his team likes to put up yards. His team has averaged over 500 yards of total offense per game thus far, but Utah is an interesting team in the fact that they like to play a different brand of football, or at least that they've had with Cameron Rising. Without him, he has not played yet this season. So Utah, their offense is averaging less than 400 yards a game, but they allowed less than 70 yards on the ground. Now, I do like to point out that UCLA has also done a pretty good job of stopping the run, averaging 69 yards allowed per game. I think we can all agree that that's pretty nice, if I say so myself. Pretty darn nice. So what's the key into this one? First, I feel we got to address the elephant in the room. Does Cam Rising play in this game? We thought that we could see him in the Weber State game, but that didn't necessarily happen. Cam Rising was out after he tore his ACL in the Rose Bowl. Didn't see him against Florida. Didn't see him against Baylor. Did not see him in that Weber State game, but according to Pete Fermal on ESPN, looks like the September 23rd game against UCLA is a logical targeting date as Rising is continuing to practice. So he has been practicing with the team. Does he play in this game now? Now, Utah hasn't need Cam Rising yet, but at the same time, I do think that they're going to need Cam Rising to win this particular game. Because as of right now, we've seen some uncertainty as a result of Cam Rising not playing in this particular game. Right now, the line says it's a 4.5. Any given Saturday model gives it a little bit more credit at 11.5 favorite for the Utah Utes. They found a way to get it done before, but can Utah find a way to, if Cam Rising doesn't play, can they produce enough points? Because I think this is going to be the type of game you're going to have to get to 30 because I have a feeling that this is going to be a little bit more of a high-scoring game than what people are going to realize. Utah's only done that one time without Cam Rising. Now, on the other hand, can UCLA avoid making mistakes? They do have a freshman at the quarterback position, true freshman, might I add. And so far, this true freshman in Dante Moore, he's lived up to the hype. He has lived up to the hype for the UCLA Bruins. Has a 62% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been good. He's been really good. But this is going to be his first real test as well. I'm really curious to see how that goes, how that true freshman handles that environment, because Rice Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake, Utah, that is a good college football stadium. That is a quality college football environment as well. It's going to be nothing like the first road game that UCLA has, where it went on the road against San Diego State. They're playing in a pro stadium. That's not going to be the same. It just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't hit right per se. And on top of that, who's going to be able to establish that running game a little bit more? Both defenses dominant against the run. Who breaks down the, or at least you don't have to like run for a ridiculous amount of yards, but at least keep it honest. If Cam Rising doesn't play, keep that pressure off of Nate Johnson, who is a pretty young player, a pretty inexperienced player in his own right. He is a freshman redshirt who threw one pass last season. He's obviously seen the field a little bit more than that. So I'm really curious how this goes. Now, as for how I think this game happens, I'm going to go with the model here in this regard. I do think Utah wins. I do think Utah covers as well. And a big reason for that is they are going to be at home. It's going to be an electric environment. And they're getting better on offense. They are certainly getting better on the offensive end. We know how good that defense is. And I just can't bet against the Utah Utes when they are not just defending Pac-12 conference championships, but also they've done it 2 years in a row too. So yeah, that being said, we are going to roll with the Utah Utes in this one, and I think that they're going to cover as well.